Hi, everyone. This is Raquel.
Hi, and this is Jennifer.
Welcome to Madness Cafe.
This is a feminist podcast where we talk about women's issues, politics, and health and wellness.
And where those issues intersect. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Madness Cafe. Today, Jennifer and I are going to try something a little different. And why not? It's our podcast. We can do whatever we want. We're going to try something that we're calling a minisode. So basically a mini episode. No more than 20 minutes, but just us jumping in and talking about a topic. We're going to try this out. And the topic that we're going to talk about is Black Tradwives. We've talked about Tradwives before as far as the whole fundamentalist Christianity movement with Teal Leving, Sarah Stancorb, and Kate West. And I didn't even know this was a thing. So this is how this came about is I was reading a newsletter or something, and there was a blurb in the newsletter about, and then there's Black Tradwives. And I was like, what? What the what? And my brain exploded, and I tumbled down the rabbit hole of Black Tradwives. My mind is boggled, and I can't quite say that I understand it, but.
And then she said, text, hey, Jennifer, what do you think about talking about Black Tradwives? And I'm like, say the what? What are you talking about? Then I had to go tumble down the rabbit hole. Yeah. And boy, is it weird.
It is so weird. It is so weird. Okay, so it's like there's a spectrum, maybe, of the whole Black Tradwife thing. It's not the stereotypical tradwife tied to fundamentalist Christianity thing. Although there are some who are in that vein, but they don't call themselves tradwives. They call themselves #Black Housewife, or they use the term traditional marriage or biblical marriage, or they discuss being a quote unquote submissive wife. So there's that end of the spectrum. And then there's the other end of the spectrum where it's Black stay-at-home moms who are getting away from the rat race and the grind culture, basically #soft life, right? Because there's one woman who is kind of lumped into that whole Black housewife thing where, yeah, she's a stay-at-home mom, but she's got a full-time nanny. She has a lady come clean her house. Yeah, she has hobbies and stuff that are hers that are not tied to, I bake bread for my children. I mean, it's literally like what you think of as a wealthy woman who basically just volunteers a lot.
Yeah, that's #wealthy woman. That's not #tradwives. Aren't tradwives supposed to be getting up in the morning and going out and getting the eggs from under the chickens and bring them inside and cracking them open and cooking for the kids and getting them off they can't go to school. They gotta teach.
She's gotta homeschool the kids.
Yeah.
Well, see, it all gets really, really murky because there's also the homesteading movement where people are like, I'm raising chickens because I want to be healthy and I want to, less preservatives and all of my stuff. Right. And I want to be close to nature. So there's all kinds of it gets really messy and mixed up.
I'll be honest, I've found a lot of that content about the homesteaders in my fantasy brain, kind of something to aspire to. Like also like when they brought in the submission and the religion and so I don't know. Yeah, some of it. Sure. Yeah, it was hard to be a mom and have a full-time job at the same time.
Right. And I get that. But then, okay, if you have the financial means, get a nanny, get a house cleaner, get a whatever.
I have never had those financial means.
No, girl. And neither have I. Neither have I. And granted, my mom was not a stay-at-home mom. But she also didn't have to worry about, I have to get a nanny and blah, 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 because she had my grandma and my aunts and my older cousins who were those were our version of a nanny and all the things.
So what's the new appeal for Black women to want to be a trad wife because it
So here's what I found in the little bit of research that I did. In the one article that basically just pushed me headlong down, down the rabbit hole, it says, many of whom say that traditional marriage is the key to Black women's liberation from being overworked, economic insecurity, and the stress of trying to survive in a world hostile to our survival and existence. And it talks about how it's almost like a backlash to the whole idea of women can have it all. You can work and you can be a mom and can you do all that. And I get that. But there's an extra layer for Black women because we've generally, and yes, there are exceptions to every rule, but generally, we have not been in situations where we could be the stay at home mom because either our husbands weren't making enough to support us in that way, or there was no husband for whatever reason, or, and I found this out doing the research for this, I didn't know this, but during Jim Crow in 1918 in Greenville, South Carolina, there was an ordinance. I had no idea. It's crazy. There was an ordinance requiring Black women to work because it was, quote unquote, difficult for families, i.e., white families, who needed cooks and laundresses to work for them. So it was a requirement. So Black women couldn't just be like, look, I'm going to stay home. Hubby, you go out, you work, I'll just take care of stuff here in the house. Because Jim Crow was like, nah, 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 sis, you're going to have to get out there and work because these white women and these white families need a wet nurse or a cook or somebody to clean their homes.
so I could see in that regard how being a stay-at-home mom could be a route to liberation until they talk about submission to the man.
Yeah. And that I have a hard time with that, regardless of whether I'm going to be working or staying at home. I just, no, no, no. But then there was one woman, and I wish I could remember her name, but she talked about submission in the sense of
Trust.
trusting your husband to do the right things.
Right. I read that same article. She basically said her last name is McGugan,
McGugan. Yeah.
McGugan.
Yeah.
She basically, I'm paraphrasing, said, yes, submission, but first you find the right man to submit to. So
Right.
you build your marriage on trust and then trust the man to lead you to safety and security, etc. But if you're in a relationship that doesn't involve that, she basically said, then you get out. I have heard that conversation about in my studies with the divine feminine as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, and I get so knocked off track with this line of thought where the feminine is supposed to be flowing and accepting and following, and the masculine is supposed to hold the container and provide and do this and that. And in some regard, I think, oh, yes, wouldn't that be lovely?
Mm-hmm.
But yet, there's this other practical reality to me
Mm-hmm.
that says, no, when I need to go, when I need to do what I need to do, I need to have a job, money, car,
Mm-hmm.
house, finances, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, the only one that really going to be looking out for me is me. Not that I
Yeah.
don't have friends and loved ones and family.
Right.
The person who's going to take care of me is going to be me.
Right. Right. And I wonder, so we've both heard, I'm sure, the thought that hyper independence is a trauma response.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
oh yeah.
maybe that's it. Maybe that's our life trauma speaking, but I feel the same way. I mean, yes, do I have the fantasy of I am financially well off and financially independent and financially secure and I only work because I want to and I only do jobs that I want to do and I can just go travel and pick up whenever I want. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That's absolutely my fantasy. But when I think about that fantasy, it isn't because there's some man protecting me. It's because I just like got a windfall of a big bunch of cash and I've somehow invested well. And
Yeah.
maybe that's my trauma response. Fine.
I do think there is some response to the lives that we led, having single mothers be our breadwinners, the
Hmm.
people who provided for us. Also, my mom's primary message to me was the entire time I was growing up was always have your own money. You're
Yeah,
going on a
same,
date, have your own
same,
money. Always
same.
take care of yourself. So there
Hmm.
is some of that programming in there. It is really hard for me to think, oh, I could totally trust this person to take care of my life for me.
Yeah.
But then there's also this little rebellious, not even rebellious, there's this spark.
Hmm.
There's this me, this meanness that wants to live my life on my terms,
Absolutely.
right? That has, yeah, okay, we could try partnership, but if the partnership blurs who I am supposed to be, then I come first.
Right, exactly. And or if you what scares me about this whole situation of stay-at-home moms or trad wives or any of that is you think you have somebody who's trustworthy and who is making the right decisions for you, but then something happens
You find
and
out
you
they have a whole nother
and
family
yeah, you
and
realize they've got a whole other family, or they've
or
gambled all your money
yeah,
away,
yeah, yeah,
or the house is
yeah.
about to
Yeah,
foreclose,
how are
or
you
there's
supposed to know?
nothing in the
Yep,
bank,
yep,
you ain't
yep.
got a job, none of this shit's in your name.
Nope.
Then what you gonna do?
You don't even know what the mortgage is
Right, you don't know what the mortgage is,
or who to pay it to.
you don't know who to pay it to,
Right.
you don't have any marketable skills, so you can't go get a job, or you got 47 kids, so you can't where what job are you going to get with little experience that's going to pay you enough that you can then get daycare for all those kids and pay for everything?
I do think one of the interesting things about this article, though, was taking that all aside, because I don't think anyone's going to argue that we have
Yeah.
to take care of ourselves. But part of this article was about the accessibility of marriage for Black women in the first
Hmm.
place,
Hmm. Hmm.
being that we had chattel slavery, right?
Yeah.
And families were ripped apart. I
Hmm.
mean, physically, literally ripped apart.
Absolutely.
So there
Absolutely.
was no ability to hold that. Then we went through this area of Jim Crow, and we're talking about counties that have these
These ordinances where Black women
ordinance,
have to work.
right? But then we also have all of the aggressions and microaggressions against Black men that allowed the school to prison pipeline,
Yep.
pulling Black men out of the family situation. Then we have all of the media about Black men this and Black women that, and the
Hmm.
family structure not actually being allowed in our culture in the same way that a family structure has been allowed for a white woman and a white man.
Hmm.
Now, if you get into interracial, it gets even more complicated.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things I saw in this article that really did speak to me, and maybe this is for Black women trying to be a trad wife, maybe it is the sense of I deserve a marriage and a family and a house. And if I want to stay home with my kids, I should be the one raising them. And if I want to bake bread in the oven and so in that regard I see that when marriage has not exactly been an institution that is encouraged,
Hmm.
whereas for white women it's that's your choice, you're going to get
Right.
married.
Right.
I can see how it could be appealing, like you're watching these videos and you see this man and this woman, you're not seeing an abusive man, you're seeing this strong man who's taking care of things. He's coming home. You're
He
dressed all pretty.
loves his woman, loves his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally see the appeal in that. But
It's an
you
illusion though,
know,
don't you think?
I really do think, but I also see the appeal of just being a wealthy woman who doesn't have to work, but just has a lot of money or invested well. And, basically, what it is, what I kind of see is having a really good retirement before I'm super duper old and just having the money to just enjoy my life. Like that's the appeal that I look at. I just go, you know what? That's awesome. The appeal of being able to just live my life, not stressed about money. I've got somebody to clean
That's
the
it.
house. Yeah, I got somebody who can clean the house if I need it. I've got somebody who'll come and organize. This is my fantasy, people. I don't have anybody cleaning my house, but just that ease that I think we're all looking for of just living my life. Hashtag soft life. That was one of
Yeah.
the things in there.
Hashtag soft life. And it actually the appeal to escape the rat race of capitalism.
Yes.
Whether it comes out as trad wife or soft life or what was it?
Hashtag Black
Black
Housewife.
housewife. However, that appeal is like, it's almost like, again, someone come save me from this
Rat race.
this capitalism, this 9 to 5. I have to get up and knock myself out every fucking day.
Yeah. Or just, where's my easy button? Okay. Where's my easy button? Can I just live and go to a job if I like it? Fine. Come home and my house is already clean. And oh, I want to go on a trip. I don't have to worry because I know there's money in the bank. La la la. That's
And all those TikTok videos make trad life look like, okay, so you're wearing a pretty dress and your hair is done and the makeup is just so,
your
and
hair's perfect.
you're la 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 la, I'm just dusting and you're not really seeing that you're like 20 minutes before she was in there cleaning the toilet.
Right.
And
Right.
that the kid is screaming in the bedroom and won't go to bed.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy.
It is. It is a fantasy. And it's aspirational. And I get that. It's maybe that is the case for some of these women. Maybe what they're showing is their real life. And for them, God bless you. God bless. I know. Maybe it's not. It probably isn't. I know you're making the
They're
face.
showing the highlights. They're
Of
showing the
course.
highlights.
Yeah.
All right. Black trad wife. Yes or no?
No.
Meh.
That's a big no. That's a no for me, dog.
I've never heard you say that before.
I've never said that before in my life.
It's a no for me too.
It just felt wrong coming out, but whatever.
It was fun.
Okay, there we go. That's our first minisode. Okay, good. Now we know. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks everyone for listening today. We will be back with more Madness Cafe next week. You can find us on Instagram at Madness Cafe Podcast or email us at madnesscafepodcast@gmail.com. Bye.